Capricorn, your February energies are here. Let's have an aligned astro chat about it. Hello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to your Transformational Tarot for the month of February for Capricorn. Caps, this is for your Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, and it's also for the people who have a Capricorn in their life that they love. This is a great way to keep up with them. So we are going to be pulling an overarching theme today from the 22 Archangels Oracle deck from Kyle Gray. And then the tarot deck that called to me for you guys is the Soul Sparkle Tarot. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, so February is going to be, I want to say collectively, a little up and down. So you want to be, I want to say, prepared for that. And the way that you can navigate that up and down water that you're going to run into in the collective is really by focusing on the things that you are building, focusing on those things that you have chosen to dedicate yourself and your time to. And Joe Fiala is coming through to say, trust the unfolding. There is no wrong path, only choices that take you closer to or further from love. Loving this energy for you. So Joe Fiala is one of my favorite archangels. She always presents just a beautiful energy, and it's always about perspective. It's always about beauty. And I feel like when she's giving that message, trust the unfolding, you're going to struggle with what you're witnessing, what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what you are reacting and responding to out in the world, out in your inner circle as well. Trust that everything that is happening in divine timing, divine order. And this would be a really great month for you to consider the spiritual view, the spiritual perspective over and above the human perspective, because the human perspective is the one that's having the struggle. The spiritual perspective is the one that's saying, and this is why these things are happening. This is why this is an energy that you are being faced with at this time. And when we see the spiritual perspective, it doesn't necessarily make our human experience easier, but it does give us the why. And we can pretty much get through anything if we're understanding that on the other side of it, there are going to be deep lessons learned, that there's going to be an exorbitant amount of growth, that there's going to be an aha moment for yourself or others or both. It is the process of enlightenment. It is the process of ascension. So just kind of a heads up on that. Okay, and so now we are tapping into your present moment. Oops. And the deck is already speaking to you. The cards are already flipping around. Where are you at present right now in your transformational journey? What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? The Fool. Interesting. Okay. So I really feel that Caps, and we know the last few months have not been, well, the last year, quite frankly, for you has not been great. An extra not great over and above everybody else is not great. Where you're at right now is I feel like you really are trying to get into that space, that mindset of understanding that, okay, the past is the past. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't change it. I can't shift it. I can only move forward. And so I feel that in the energy of a lot of you that you're really trying to make the best effort to move forward into something new, whether that's imagining something new for yourself or choosing to learn new things, to start a new project. I feel a lot of this energy around you getting adapted and adjusted to letting things go, cutting things off without having finality, without having it wrapped up. You know, it's like that breakup where you don't have closure. And you have to somehow find a way to get past it or get beyond it, even if you don't understand entirely what transpired, because life does go on. So in this instance, the Fool card is not, I want to say, sunshine and daisies, wine and roses for you at this time. But I do feel the effort that you're putting into this. So I want to say you are shifting at this point and you're making a concerted effort to do it. Make sure, Caps, that you're getting lots of rest, because it is challenging to make this kind of shift and to, forcibly, leap into a new existence or on a new path when you were, wholly unprepared for it, or it's just not something that you ever imagined you wanted, or that wasn't what you were working towards, and yet this is where you're at. So there's a deep acceptance of what is, and leaning into trusting that the universe has got your front, back, sides, bottom, and top. Trust the unfolding. I think trust is going to be your word in February. What's your catalyst? What's fueling or hindering your transformation? Is this resistance or rocket fuel? This one is standing out to me here. The Hierophant, interesting. So the first thing I'm hearing is the Taurus energy. The Hierophant is the Taurus card. And I'm feeling like Taurus is coming up, what is it, May? I think April into May, or maybe it's May into June. Actually, I think it's May into June, is the Taurus energy. Again, I'm not an astrologer, so forgive me if I'm getting that wrong. So I feel like everything that you are currently working on doing, moving away from, moving towards, I feel that there's a certain level of victory, success, doors opening for you in the Taurus season. But in the meantime, you kind of have to really evaluate where you're getting caught up in either the limiting belief of your experience or getting caught up in the old ways of doing things. There's a real energy here around you guys struggling to let go of the past. I like to say the Hierophant is an important figure because it's all about that ritual and that tradition. But there's also a time, and we are in it, where ritual and tradition is not necessarily the best thing for us. I like to say we are in a time right now where we need to reinvent the wheel. If we never ask, is there something better than the wheel, then we never evolve. We just get comfortable or complacent. The Hierophant isn't wise. The Hierophant has knowledge. The Hierophant does the ritual and has done the ritual, 5 billion and one times. But after a while, why are you doing the ritual? Do you even remember what it symbolized? Is there a real deep connection to it? Has it morphed over time? Is it still viable to where you're going today? So I feel this is the catalyst for you, is that you are going to be coming across some situations. I'm seeing 2 situations in particular towards the beginning of this month where you're going to be put in a position to really evaluate the why. Why am I doing this thing? Yes, I've been doing it for the last 20 years, but why am I doing it? Is there still a connection? Has my why shifted or changed? Where do I need to elevate myself in order to be able to reconnect with this energy, or to recognize that this energy is weighing me down and that I'm ready to elevate in a different capacity? So when we say, is this resistance or rocket fuel? I'm going to say to you, this feels a little bit like resistance. Of course, you can turn it into rocket fuel if you are willing to ask the question and then, do the honest look at it, and then make changes as a result of that, right? Breaking out of limiting beliefs, limiting patterns, rituals that no longer have meaning. It's going to be resistance until you're able to do that. So don't beat yourself up if it takes you a minute or two. These are not easy things to address, and sometimes it's hard to even see them for what they are, especially if it's something that you have been doing by rote for so long. It's on autopilot, it's automatic. And so you're not used to looking at the why, or not used to looking at what purpose it's actually serving. So again, don't beat yourself up over it, but also I want to encourage you to not be afraid to really look at it, evaluate it, and say, okay, no matter what it is I'm seeing, I'm open to making those changes. I'm open to exploring what it might be like to reinvent the wheel. Deep root. What deep belief, wound, or soul contract is driving this transformation under the surface? You're feeling like you should have been further along than you are. There's a real reminiscence energy here, but I feel like sadness, almost a bit of remorse or regret, reflections on, action steps that you took or choices that you made that you feel from your perspective have just kind of kept you spinning in place. And my heart goes out to you because I totally get that. I totally understand that. I have been there. I think a lot of us have been there. I've been there. There are a couple of things that I'm dealing with in my own personal life right now where I could say, yeah, I feel that too. Here's the challenge for you. This is something that is showing up in your life right now so that you can rise above it. And Caps, I know that you have a tendency to kind of really throw yourself into your work or what you're creating, what you're building, what you are feeling is of deep purpose is going to matter deeply. And right now you're kind of feeling a sense of what does it all mean? What do I hang on to right now? What is my focus? This is the challenge here. But I'm going to say with the Four of Wands, yes, you're feeling like you've kind of missed the boat or you're spinning your wheels, hamster wheel type thing. But the fours are all about, Four of Wands is establishing a new foundation, establishing a foundation, I should say, graduating, moving up a level, up leveling. It's also about contracts. And I feel like this is an opportunity for you to make a different contract with yourself. This is a time to evaluate what your soul contract is with you. What did you really come here to do? What did your soul really come here to do? Evaluate those themes that stand out to you as really important. What are the themes that get you worked up? What are the themes that you feel most passionate about in life? Those are the themes that are going to give you a little bit of an inkling as to what you're moving towards and what you're stepping into. You can turn this frown upside down. You can definitely get yourself into a more elevated position. But I feel like it involves rewriting your contracts with yourself. Yes, this might be for a few of you because it's a general reading. Take what works for you, leave the rest behind. This could be physical contracts as well. That, maybe there's a financial contract that you've been involved in for a while and it's time to renegotiate. It's time to really look at it and say, is this really serving me? If you've been saving a ton of money toward buying a boat and now you're recognizing, well, I've decided to move to the desert, so a boat isn't really going to serve me, but I've signed this contract. It's time to find a way to get out of the contract. This is the time right now for you to negotiate with yourself to really connect to what you're really here for. Sorry, we got lots of cat butt in the face here right now. What's dying away? What role, pattern, or identity has run its course? Seven of Pentacles. Okay, so what I'm getting around this, Caps, is this is a month for you to really evaluate where you're working, overworking, where you are putting in a lot of time and effort and energy and not getting much out in return. This is typically, oh, thank you, Neo. This is typically a card of reaping the rewards. But what I'm feeling for you guys right now in terms of what's dying away is your energy levels in terms of being able to overcommit or to work towards something that simply isn't paying off. Again, when we talk about contracts, whether it's a soul contract or a financial contract or, anything in between, a contract is only good and healthy and plentiful if it's reciprocal to both parties. If both parties get something fair, get what it is that they need. So the 7 is also a number that allows you to really get into the fine points of the details, crossing the I's, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, really paying attention to the details to make sure that it's working for you rather than against you. And I feel like what's dying away for you is this idea that I've got to work twice as hard to get things done. Instead, what you're going to be doing is finding ways to pull back and say, how can I make less more? How can I do less and bring in more? And the word that I'm hearing is focus on manifestation. Focus on the frequency levels that you're at is going to dictate what you are attracting to yourself. So focus on that kind of energy. See what you're putting out there, because that is directly going to let you know what it is that you're bringing into your energetic field. Highest potential in transformation. This is your highest phoenix possibility. What can rise from the ashes? What is your soul calling you toward? This is your breakthrough energy. Wow. So we have lots of major arcana here, and you've got the Hermit card. So when we're talking about the highest phoenix potential, I feel like you're getting ready to break through on truly knowing yourself in a way that you didn't even know existed, or in a way that you have been fighting to understand about yourself for years. Now is the time to hit that energy. And I feel like, the portal that this person is heading towards is pink. Pink is all about unconditional love, self-love, and self-care. And I feel like that's exactly what you're needing, Caps, is there's been a lot of focus on the care of others, or a lot of focus on not wanting to engage in or overinvest in anything that you're not going to be getting something in return about, but it's become a little bit transactional for you. And you're not a transactional person by nature. So this is kind of a coming back to the self and recognizing, oh, I've missed myself in this whole process. I've been either projecting onto others what it is I've really been needing for myself in the hopes that they're going to give it to me, not realizing that I'm giving away my power. Or I'm in a space where I've been giving too much to so many people and not getting enough in return, that now it's time to make it about me. I'm really drawn to these blue, it's the blue lights of the knots of the tree. And a knot in a tree usually indicates where a branch has fallen off, long ago fallen off. So I feel like there's also a level of wounding, healing, evaluating your wounds, your scabs, and incorporating them, making them purposeful in some kind of way, rather than trying to ignore them or avoid them or pretend like they don't exist. This is about bringing it into your now and repurposing them. And sometimes that just means acknowledging it. I am who I am today because of these, these scars or these different wounds or these different experiences that I had. And this happens to be a scar that reminds me of, X, Y, or Z. And what I'm going to say to you here is, this is something that I think a lot of people do if they have a scar. They go and they get a tattoo to cover over the scar. But usually, or not, I shouldn't say usually, often, I find when people do that, the tattoo that they get has some kind of deeper meaning around how they got the scar. Because the scar is that war wound always reminds you of what you fought for. It always reminds you of an experience that you had that has made you into the person that you are today. And it's up to you to determine whether that's someone to be proud of, or whether that reminder is a reminder for you to make different choices moving forward, because you always want to strive for being deeply connected to self and source. All right, what is emerging just around the corner? What energy or experience is coming in to support the next phase? Knight of Pentacles, interesting. So I feel like this is really speaking to that slowdown that I'm seeing with you, where you're not over-investing so much, where you are really choosing to connect instead with the less is more concept. I also want to say, for those of you who are really struggling with your work, your career, your business, how you choose to kind of contribute and show up in the world, this Knight of Pentacles is coming through to say it's time to do things a little bit differently. Yes, less is more, but I feel like it's also about paying attention to how much energy you are putting out into the world, and is it the right kind of energy to attract what it is that you're really seeking. Caps, this is a really good month for you for a lot of self-evaluation. Not because it's about let's beat up on the Cap month, but more so because you are on the precipice of really understanding yourself in a way that you haven't before. You're on the precipice of understanding that I want to say that the choices that you have made in the past, especially in regards to, I want to say, deeper connections, have been maybe going against your better interests, your higher interests, working against, and again, this is, we all have the subconscious that works through us, right? You're going to be evaluating that. Where have I gone against my own best interests? Where have I consistently, where am I finding a pattern in my life where consistently I keep running into the same issue? Because, I'm going to say, wherever you go, there you are. If it's a one-off, okay, maybe it's a weird thing. If it happens twice, okay, that's kind of interesting. But it happens 3 times, well, what's the common denominator? You are the common denominator in the situation. So, and we all have been there. So I'm not tisk-tisking you. I'm just saying, this is kind of, I feel like what February is bringing into the mix is you really evaluating what part you're playing. And I mean, that's the next question, is what part you're playing. So I'm going to move on to the next card here. But I feel like this Knight of Pentacles is really encouraging you to do things differently. And during this time of slow down, or this time of less is more, and how you're, sort of feeling that out, you want to be taking your time with this. Knight of Pentacles is an earth sign, right? And so you Caps are an earth sign. So this is going to be in your wheelhouse, but you kind of have to open yourself to it. So this is you in this process. You're rolling the shift. How are you navigating this transformation? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? Wow, the Empress. So interesting. Wow. Okay. So I want to say to you here, and I talked about Taurus energy with the Hierophant, and Empress also is a Taurus energy as well, often connected to Taurian energy, especially with that Venus ruled. So I want to say you're seeing yourself through the lens of a past heyday, through the lens of what you once were, and it's clouding your judgment for who you are now. And you want to really be able to see who you are now, because that is the secret sauce to really being empowered to become who you want to become. And again, general reading, and I'm not saying, Caps, that you're not living your truth or not being authentic. What I'm feeling is that you are getting ready to up level. This is your opportunity to graduate out of this, larger cycle that you have been in, and to make it count and move on to the next level. But in order to do that, you have to understand that, the Empress, the divine feminine aspect of you, or the heyday of you 20 years ago, I want to say isn't really valid in informing the choices that you're making now, the things that you're facing right now. Yes, you can look back on those things to connect to the feelings, to connect to what you enjoyed about it, so that you can manifest more of that. But I feel like there's a little bit of, it's like 6 of Cups energy. It's like nostalgia, looking back. But there's also a bit of an illusion around this, that you're like, but I can be this again. And I want to say, no, you can't. You can't be this again, because you can't go backwards. You can emulate this and use that as a platform for who you are becoming, who you're choosing to become, but you're never going to be this again. And the longer you hang on to that, the more you try to recreate that, the further back you go, right? The further stuck or like digging your heels in you are. Will you be able to tap into this beautiful divine feminine Empress energy again? Abso-freaking-lutely. But you're going to look completely different. And maybe you're not going to be in that throne. Maybe your throne isn't going to be a stone throne. Maybe you're going to be hovering over your earth on a chair of light or an orb of light, because that's the new the new technology. That's the new way of doing things today, or that's the way that you're bringing it into the mix. When we talk about Venus energy, Venus is our value and worth. And I feel like at the core of everything, that's really what you are kind of struggling with right now is what is it that I'm really good at? What is it that I really value? What is it that I really believe in? Because maybe I've been believing in a lot of things that are connected to that old version of me. And in order for me to really go forward, I have to break clean break from that past in order to move up into where it is that I really want to go. Circles of support. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now? And is it positive or negative? Beautiful. The world. Yes, you have come full circle. And I feel like for a lot of you, you're sensing it, but you're not fully embracing it or embodying it. And for some of you, this is a bit elusive. You're looking at this and you're going, I can never see the end to this. I don't understand where the end is actually going to come. Because again, it's, loop-de-loop-de-loop. The world is the sum total of everything you worked hard to achieve. And I feel like that is really going to be a support system for you. When you can look at and acknowledge all these things that I've been are amazing. All these things that I've been have really stepped up to help me become who I am right now. But if you notice, she's naked. It's like she's being rebirthed again. She's rebirthing herself. She's coming through the portal, through the vessel, getting ready to start a new journey. And you want to embrace this fully. You will have the people that you have, I want to say, nurtured in your life, or the relationships that you have nurtured and that nurture you. You will have that level of support. But how are you nurturing yourself? And the baby can get some assistance to be birthed. But once they're in that birth canal, it is about them doing the work, birthing themselves. And I feel like this is not about a cesarean. This isn't a cesarean section for you. This is about a natural birth because you're choosing it and you're choosing yourself. Nothing to be afraid of. You're ready for it. You are ready for it. You just don't think you are because you're using the past to try and give you a blueprint. But I feel like you want to shift up that blueprint. Hopes and fears. Who are you dreaming of becoming and what scares you about actually doing it? So, okay, scooch fuzz. Better door than a window. 3 of Swords. So, yes, you're afraid of betrayal. Yes, you're afraid of heartbreak. I feel like you haven't completely healed over some heartbreak that has occurred in your life. And I feel like it's still a bit of an open wound. This would be a great month for you to really look at those wounds, to ask your angels and guides to help you seal it up. It needs to scab over. It's time now for you to be able to close the door on that. What did I say before? I think with the Fool card, like you're in the middle of a breakup and you don't have closure. And at some point you have to say, okay, I have to move forward in spite of the fact that I don't have the closure that I'm seeking. And really, honestly, we don't always need the closure. The closure will come when we need it, or the closure will come when we no longer need it. Sometimes that's the case as well. And that is the lesson, is that I thought I needed this thing, but I actually don't. It's better for me to move forward. But the biggest fear of all is you're worried about betrayal. You're worried about making connections. Threes is a collaborative energy, creative energy and collaborative energy. You're worried about making inroads, collaborating with other people, opening your heart to other people. Because when you've done it in the past, you've felt betrayed. You've been betrayed. Maybe you've betrayed others. And you still have not healed from that. Or perhaps another way to say it is you're still in the process of learning the full lesson, exploring the full scope of it. But you'll get through it. You'll absolutely get through it, especially if you really take the time this month to ask your angels and guides for help, to reveal to you how you can move beyond it. Again, you don't necessarily need the closure from someone else. Give yourself that closure. Allow yourself to heal. And that's how you're going to be able to move forward fully into that world energy. Here's the outcome of this transformation if you stay on course. Who will you be on the other side of this journey? What is the result of embracing the full death and rebirth cycle? Queen of Cups, back in, comfortable in your own skin again, comfortable in feeling things again, and having more structure, more, I want to say, organization around how you're feeling about things. Not feeling, like a leaf blowing in the wind, not feeling at the mercy of other people's emotions or whims or actions that can cause you to feel hurt or abandoned or wounded or lost, or whatever the case may be. This Queen of Cups feels very confident in how she feels about things, and very confident in her ability to navigate those feelings. Those feelings inform her. They don't take her over. And I feel that that's exactly what you're opening up into. And this is exactly who you're going to be on the other side of February. If you open yourself to this deep evaluative self-awareness journey that you're on. And remember, the Fool's journey, it is a trust fall. It's a blind leap of faith in a lot of ways, but trust the unfolding, because this is opening you up to that love, that compassion, to I want to say, a wider, stronger heart space that is there to support you, first of all. And then when you feel supported, you're able now to support others. Feels really, really significant. Okay, Caps. So that is your transformational tarot for the month of February. You know what to do if you are struggling, if you need some help. This is going to be a tough month. Click on the link below, book a session with me. I would love to be able to support you in any way that I can. Otherwise, sending you so much love, so much support for this month to help you through and navigate the waters. Click on the join button to go a little bit deeper and keep the conversation going. Become a fabulous phoenix with me. Let's do this wild ride called life together. I will see you on the flip side for another episode of Black Feather Code Tour, Divining a VIP Life, and transform well.